All right. A deck close to this went 8-0 in the Mox tournament this past weekend. This is a green, black, control ramp deck, ramp control deck with ramp elements. We've got Rejuvenator and Hour of Promise here to help us find our key lands. We've got 4 Field of the Dead here, which is basically... Field is basically just the best top end in this format. You can't really go over Field of the Dead. I guess it's not... Depends. I guess it depends on like what your definition of go over is. The Nexus decks kind of go over it, but in a different way, in an unfair way. But anywho, so Field of the Dead is the reason why we have things like Hashep Oasis and Ifnir Deadlands and Radiant Fountain and stuff like that. We've got a smattering of different creatures here at the bottom. We got some Elvish Reclaimers. There's more ways to find our Field of the Dead. And then between some Fabled Passages, Elvish Reclaimer, and a Field of Runes, I got some Deathrite Shamans in here, which may or may not be useful in occasionally casting Hour of Promise ahead of curve. Can also provide us a little bit of utility in gaining life and killing our opponent in certain board states. So interested to see if this card is good or not in this format. This card really feels like a classic example of the power level of cards is contextual to the format in which they're being played, because obviously Deathrite Shaman is a card that's banned in both Modern and Legacy, but it hasn't really done much in this format where we don't have traditional fetch lands. So that lack of traditional fetch lands is a very big deal in the power level of this card. Hit a brand new tier 1 sub there from Isaac Righteousness. Thanks for the support. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Hope you're having an excellent start to your week. 1 Nexus of Fate and Pioneer 3. Thanks for the tier 3 upgrade, and yeah, I will get that added to the queue. Yeah, I've got some big ins in the sideboard between Casualty of Wars and 8 mana Ugin, but like our deck's got a lot of ramp in it, right? So like this doesn't seem that unreasonable. Thanks for the 17 months, Polly. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. Nice, Waterfalls. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, that's one of my favorite decks in Standard. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Historic, if they add real support for it or not, etc. I'm gonna cast this in response. I feel like I just want to take Radiant Fountain here. So this is pretty likely to find me another field, and this is guaranteed to find me another field if it resolves. So like getting a little bit of life gain is going to be good against the tempo deck, especially when we're on the draw. Yeah, if they simply prioritized and put out an in-client tournament system in Arena, I think the community would flesh out Magic Esports surrounding Arena very, very quickly. I don't think they realize how much money they're leaving on the table by not prioritizing that as a feature. Yeah, I'm interested to see how Standard goes this week. So I posted my schedule yesterday. I'm planning to do 3 days of Standard and 2 days of Historic. And if Historic goes well this week and is popular, I might flip-flop that moving forward and do 3 Historic, 2 Standard, at least until... We'll see though. I've actually had pretty few Historic deck submissions overall. Been having more Standard submissions than Historic so far to date. I mean, small on-demand tournaments we basically already have in client, Punishing Waterfalls. We effectively have that style of event contained within the constructed events that you can play for 1,000 gold. Taco, thank you for the 4 months. Taco, I appreciate the third of the year. Welcome back. Is Standard in a good spot right now? I don't think anybody fully knows the answer to that question. We're effectively on Eldraine Standard 3.0. Like, whether or not it's good or bad remains to be seen. I do know I personally enjoyed playing Historic last week. Hey, Jeff, appreciate the emphasis on critical thinking. Wish we had more teachers. Thanks for the 5 months, Greenhawk. I appreciate you keeping me around. Welcome back. Another thing about Standard is, like, I wonder if Standard is ever going to recover in paper from, like, what it's experienced over the last few months. I would love if Wormcoil came to Historic. I'd be pretty surprised if they ever added a card like that. I think like that and Dark Confidant and Brainstorm are cards that they had just, like, teased for no reason. Just, like, give huge examples of what they could do, not what they're going to do. Hey, good morning, Anner. Hope you're doing well. One of the things that this format that we're playing right now has really enforced in my mind is how important restrictions are to a game like Magic. Pioneer, one of the reasons why I've been enjoying it is because there are a number of restrictions in what people are able to play, and those restrictions breed creativity and innovation. So, for example, when Lightning Bolt is the premier removal spell in a format a la Modern, it's much more difficult, or more specifically, the range of creatures you can play in a format where Lightning Bolt's the premier removal spell is more narrow than in a format where Wild Slash is the premier red removal spell. So by the premier removal spell being slightly weaker, the range of creatures that are accepted as playable tends to be wider. Alright. Feels Avacyn, man. Maybe not. Sure. They left up what I assume is Rattle Chains here. Attempt this during their upkeep. Yep, was in fact Rattle Chains. I don't think we had any chance of beating that card with this draw. Get to bring in a bunch of cheap removal here. And a couple of sweepers. That's probably an ultimate price matchup. This is probably not a Tireless Tracker matchup. Reclaimer seems kind of slow and clunky. This seems fine. I don't know that I want Murderous Rider. Let's try this. A little bit on the expensive side against their deck full of Mausoleum Wanderers and such. It is Inner. We live to please. And you have a sword, so you know that one came from me with TLC. Collected Company. Gotta go right now. Gotta go right now. Peak Magic Online is the revealed card zone, showing you Brazen Borrower and Petty Theft as separate spells. That's That's peak Magic Online. Hey, thanks for the tier 3, 80s Rockstar. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Remember, if there's a deck in the queue already you'd like to bump up, just send me a direct message or let me know in chat. Make sure I acknowledge it. If you have a new deck you'd like to add, feel free to submit it using the form on my website, and it'll get added later this evening, assuming it's fine. Quick summary of my feelings towards Pioneer at this point in time. I think my initial feelings of the format still remain very true. This format is what I've wanted out of Modern for a long time. It's what I feel Modern had been lacking. It is a format with a deep card pool that ultimately has a little bit lower power level. And like we were talking about a second ago with that Lightning Bolt comparison, the lower power level allows for more cards to be playable. Regardless of how fast or efficient the format ends up at, this is a format where I'm never going to have to deal with Valakut. I'm never going to have to deal with Tron lands. So like that's a big deal in my opinion. I don't think it's a coincidence that since Pioneer opened for submissions, I've been taking in more Pioneer submissions than I can reasonably play in a week, and I haven't taken in any Modern submissions. My audience here on this stream is what I often describe as competitive casual. It's players who are looking to play decks off the beaten path, but they're interested in trying to play them well within the confines of the deck that they're trying to play. And I think Pioneer really appeals to that genre of player because it gives you a lot of room to work with inside of whatever confines you want to give yourself. Yeah, it's Modern except they banned all the cards from pre-RTR. Is my moto locked up? Can I not? Do y'all see me? Am I still connected? Alright, Moto. I didn't drop any frames, right? Nobody, nope, yep. OBS reports 0 drop frames. Just quality. Quality Wizards of the Coast software, ladies and gentlemen. Kids today who are like, I can't believe Magic Arena slowly fell apart, and the rest of us are just like, oh my sweet summer child. If only you knew the trials and tribulations we've seen. Moto has a case of the Mondays, yep. Is it the disconnect bug? The disconnect bug's been going around. Does it actually say like username 1 and long username when you reconnect? I've seen a few screenshots of that. That's so wild. You got a boot next to your name here, Ark. And more importantly, if you weren't subscribed, you wouldn't be able to talk in chat. That's always an easy way to know here. Kind of hoping that Wizards will reprint Modern cards in Standard to put into Pioneer. Cards that would normally be outpowered in Modern. Yeah, hopefully, Luca. I also think there's like people, a lot of people I feel like have wrongfully talked about Pioneer or historic being this thing that's not useful in the face of Pioneer, and I just don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of opportunity for historic to like carve out its own niche alongside Pioneer if they leverage it right. It also lets you add a commander to your deck while sideboarding. Well, gosh, that sounds like a feature to me. Yo, Jeff is the only streamer I see hailing Magic Online as the premier Magic Online client. Like, I'm just calling him like I see him, okay? Alright, I think I'm just going to fetch a swamp here. I guess this is a little loose, because fetching another basic here means I'm 2 off of... I'm 2 lands off of activating Field of the Dead now. This is a little unfortunate. So like if I'd have kept that land uncracked, I could have made a 2/2 with this castle. Will do, Nivik. Sounds great. Oh, right. I knew that was coming, right? Picked up a Karn package for my Urza deck. Yeah, I saw that was the GP winning list was doing that, right? So their hand is Brazen Borrower plus Eagle here. I'm going to try and Contempt this. Hopefully they didn't draw Rattle Chains. They did shock in this land, though, which is a little worrisome. Yeah, that's a beat. So we're basically dead unless we draw Ritual of Soot next turn. They can play a Lord and smash us for 10 here. The GP winning list is pretty much all the design mistakes of 2019 put together in a Sultai Artifact Shell. Yeah. I mean, play all the good cards, right? Basically the TLDR. Alright, got 2 copies of Ritual of Soot. If we draw an untapped land, we can castle into the Ritual. So I can Radiant Fountain. That doesn't accomplish anything, right? That did not feel particularly close in either of those games. Does Mox Opal count as a design mistake in 2019 if it hasn't been banned? Yeah, I think so. Mox Opal's a design mistake every year since it was printed. Honestly, the best part about Pioneer is that I really no longer feel invested in, like, what Modern is. Like, just being able to, like, sit back and be like, yep, that's a dumpster fire and I don't have to care is very therapeutic. Is there a Mox that isn't a design mistake? I don't think so. The Mox fall into a category of cards that I think, tend to be cards that are either unplayable or busted tend to not be good cards to design overall. I mean, I don't know that that's strictly true. And yeah, like I've got 4 Fatal Push, 4 Abrupt Decay, Ritual of Soot, Grasp Price. Like, I think saying we just don't have play there is kind of silly. I think it's fairly reductionist and untrue. I mean, you're correct that I can't block them with Field of the Dead tokens. Like, that is correct. Isn't Fire's Invention like that, busted or unplayable? Yeah, I think that card could maybe fall into that category. I don't know. Once Upon a Time. No, Once Upon a Time does not fall into that category. Once Upon a Time is a card that is just, from a fundamental game design perspective, it's bad design and pushed because it's an auto-include card. That's the baseline problem with that's the baseline problem with Once Upon a Time. It's a card that makes all of your decks 56 card decks when building them. It's a card that gives one specific subtype of deck an advantage over other decks that don't have that style of card in it. Again, one of the nice things about this format is when they play Thing in the Ice on 2, there's no Manamorphose or anything like that, so we don't have to worry about them flipping it on turn 3, so I get a window of breathing room here to, like, play my tapped land, play another land, Abrupt Decay this. Thanks for the 31 months of Thought. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, that's true too. I mean, what the consistency argument is a tough one because, like, there's definitely some amount of merit to the consistency as a feature and not a bug argument. But I think that one goes both ways. Sure. That's a pseudomorphose. My face is the place. It had not been a second Phoenix here, so that's good for us. I assume they're about to floop this on over. I mean, to ruffle the feathers of the legacy players a little bit, Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain are cards that are very directly comparable to the issues generated by Once Upon a Time. Those cards are just grandfathered in, and legacy players have Stockholm Syndrome. So, like, if the interest of Legacy was sculpting a format that was competitively diverse, those cards would have been banned a long time ago. Thanks for that half a year, Talvik. I appreciate that. 2 years ago, I broke my ankle, 2 months ago, I broke my ankle, and I've since spent most of my days watching your streams, so I was on medical leave. Thanks, Sunhooklandia, for keeping me company. Well, I hope you're back up on your feet again soon. I mean, if you printed a new card, like if Brainstorm never existed, and it was a card that was printed today into Legacy, it would be banned. And I don't think there would be a discussion about it. It would be determined that that card wasn't okay and it needed to be removed. The only reason that card is thought of as okay is because it was how my father and my father's father played Legacy before me, and if it was good enough for them, it's certainly still good enough for me. Well, that was the one we were going to search up. Joel says, sometimes when you resub, you have to refresh your browser page to send a notification through. It's real awkward. Any rate, thanks for the re-up. Welcome back. Nika Two Shoes, thanks for the third of a year. Alright, so I think I want this Westvale Abbey. And then I don't have a swamp yet. So I think I'm actually just going to get a Fabled Passage here. So Westvale Abbey here, I could sacrifice 5 creatures to untap and transform it, and then it transforms into a 9/7 flying lifelink indestructible haste. So next turn, I'm going to get to go Field of the Dead, make 2 more zombies, crack Fabled Passage, get Swamp, make 2 more zombies, activate Westvale Abbey, attack them for 9 with lifelink. Yeah, it's really not your fault. Joel says you are far from the first person to the interface to be awkward on. Thanks for the 2 months. Welcome back. Would have been a better option to play the desert and then get deserts for extra zombies instead. It's probably about a wash. Vomit. We'll shoot. I think we're dead, chat. This is the deck. I'm aware I can flip the Abbey. We just talked about that. This is almost the deck. I added some Deathrite Shamans over Gilded Goose. So I wanted to, because I had a submission to try that, but that difference hasn't really come up, and we've mostly just been getting run over. Yeah, I'm dead to Wild Slash no matter how I cut this. Okie doke. If they'd have only found 2 birds, if they'd have only found a second bird last turn, I think we'd be very well off. But the fact that they had 3 birds in their top 27 was a real big deal here. All right, looks like we're firmly on the dead side of the scale. What a turd. Cast my thing first, sure. You got it. This one is not so good here. We basically have 0 cards for this matchup, huh? I guess ultimate price is kind of fine. I actually like boarding out Thoughtseize against the Phoenix deck, just because their deck has so many cards that draw cards. While the ceiling of, like, grabbing a treasure cruise is nice, their deck just churns through and sees so many cards that taking any one individual card tends to not really be great, in my experience. I don't think this is good enough, right? I guess I'm not really, don't have anything super great to mulligan for. I'm gonna keep. Definitely bottoms up there on another land. Morning, Dark Magi. Tapped lands, baby, tapped lands, baby, tapped lands, baby, tapped lands, tapped lands, baby. Do 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 do. The weird thing to me about people clamoring for a field ban, like, nothing can go over the top of it, it's the best thing to be doing at the top end of the format. Like, there's always a best thing to be doing. And it's weird to me that, I guess it's not even weird to me. Magic players are just silly. Like, that, like, whatever's at the top needs to go away. I think that's it's a pretty medium take. So sacrifices a land to crop rotation, basically, right? So we'll decay this, attack for 1, and then I'm going to Reclaimer out of Field of the Dead here. Lukewarm take. You don't need to be able to interact with the lands. Kill them instead. I think having a deck in the format that punishes do nothing control decks is a net positive for the format. Lukewarm take on the comment about never investing in Magic again. Don't invest in Magic. Any amount of money you spend on Magic should come from your hobby budget. It shouldn't be an investment. Should be the type of money you spend on going out to eat or going to the movies or other things of that nature. If you're looking to see a return on your Magic the Gathering cards, I'd recommend a 401k. I think waiting till... If you think you want to play Once Upon a Time in this format, I think waiting till January is smart. I like a 4K HD better. What set is the 401k from? The Roth Investments. What is a special supplementary set? Boomers had easier access to it than millennials, but if you're lucky, you can still get access to it. It's like an Unsay. It's a silver bordered set. Chandra is an interesting direction for them to go post-board. How do subs match your 401k contribution? Something like that. My wife and I have a monthly treat yourself budget. That's a very adult way to approach finances. If we played Abbey this turn and made a token, we could have flipped it next turn, right? Yes. Yeah, it's a good catch. Because making the token would have put us to 3, and then the second field would have made 2 next turn. No. See, I just had the heads-up galaxy brain of realizing they were going to sweep us. Gotta get on my level. Hey, thanks for the 5 months, Hamblin. Welcome back. Gobble, gobble. I am planning to be live for a little while Thursday and Friday morning. How long exactly I'm going to be live for will be dependent on how well my children treat my brother-in-law, who's going to be here to watch them, and what the viewer numbers look like. That's a burb. One Psycho Squirrel. Thanks for the 4 months. I appreciate the third of a year. 3.75 years till I get a castle. It's less than that, right? Because 4 months is a third of a year. 3.75 would should be at 3 months. Hashtag fractions. Ooh. Until dinner's ready. We don't do any type of big dinner type stuff in my family. So, buttons on your underwear. I could grab the 2 deserts and get extra things that way. I kind of think I want Radiant Fountain just in case things go sideways here. And I think I want extra Field of the Dead to crank out extra dorks. I think I'm just going to grab Field Fountain here. Zombie, 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 heh, heh. Do you have another Sweltering Suns, friendo? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what do you need red mana for while you have 6 lands in play already? Maybe I just get, like, double birded here? Gosh, this deck really needs to be banned. I hope they get rid of Field of the Dead. Deck's clearly unbeatable. I, for one, think it's appalling that this deck's allowed to still be legal. It's almost like when there's a deep card pool, there's a diverse range of answers you can play. Watch us win this game. We might win this game still. They ain't making it easy, chat. Look at that. They only have 1 Phoenix in the top half of their deck. He says before his opponent casts Treasure Cruise. Hey, thanks for 11 months, Rejold. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Oh, yeah. Well, they paid 0 mana for this to put it into play, right? So I can Abrupt Decay it. That's how this works. They paid 0 for it, so I can Abrupt Decay it. I am not a Magic judge, but I'm pretty confident that is how the rules of Magic work. But Jeff, you're not playing the best version of Field. Yep. Yep. Yay! Target! In the power level of recent sets ramping up, there'll be a lot of cards coming out that finance people will try to spec out. I think it ultimately backfires. Future sets will cannibalize the value of current staples. Due to power creep, maybe it's an implicit way for watching undercut the secondary market. I don't know. I think that's a lot of hullabaloo and conspiracy theory strapping your head on there. I think the power level of Magic frequently goes up and down. It's just natural to the game and how it works. I think we've seen this in Standard over the years. I think we're definitely at a high point right now, but I think saying that it's never going to come back down is nonsense. So we're hoping to draw a land next turn, so we can floop this Westvale Abbey over. Being held by the Illuminati. Right, we stuck the landing. See what I did there, chat? See what I did there with the landing? Six out of 10. Listen, that's passing in some places. Take it. All right, Chandra down. Get to flip my friend over here into a 9/7 flying lifelink to not die to Crackling Drake. Thanks for the wonderful content. Definitely feels like a classroom as well as an entertainment channel. Here's to our zombies getting bounced. Thanks for the 60 months, Rudy. Have you heard about the bird? I said a bird. Bird's the word. I said a bird. Here's an incredibly lukewarm take. High-powered magic formats are more fun. I also think we're very dead. I also think that even if Standard ends up in a pretty okay spot, there's still going to be endless complaining about it, and there's going to be people looking for bans. We've created a new culture of Magic player that is unable to differentiate between formats that are fine and formats that actually need things to change. This was in point really exemplified during GRN Standard, which was one of the best standard formats ever, definitely in the last 2 years, and people wanted things like Carnage Tyrant banned. So I think even when formats are good, there's still going to be people clamoring for things to be removed. Ban all the cards that keep my almost no rares red-white knight decks from being tier 1. Yeah, exactly. This has been kind of a brutal set. It's not been pretty. It's like running sets of decks in a row that had flying creatures and a little bit of disruption that just like put us firmly in the ground. Is it balanced since the ban? So I don't know. I thought Eldraine Standard 1.0 was fine. Eldraine Standard 2.0 was pretty bad. And Eldraine Standard 3.0, the jury's still out on it. If you asked me to rank standard formats from the last year and a half since GRN, from worst to best, I would put Eldraine Standard 2.0 at the bottom, and then I would put War of the Spark Standard right above that as marginally better. As marginally less bad. And honestly, at this point, I don't really care if Standard's a dumpster fire, because we have Historic now, so like, even if Eldraine Standard 3.0 ends up being another dumpster fire, I don't have to like stop doing arena content again, which is nice. We have another avenue to explore and play in. Prime Speaker Vanafear, welcome to the O2 bracket. I'm excited to see what they're doing. I'm waiting to see what's 80% of the next MC. It's gonna be the cat food decks are gonna be 80%. I'd be very surprised if the cat food decks were 80%, just for the record. I would like the record to reflect. I would be incredibly surprised if the cat food decks were 80%. I think there's a lot of good tools in the format for fighting them. Whether it's Karn the Great Creator or the various what's it called? There's a lot of various graveyard hate cards. Well, we're going to play a mono red players deck today. So we can take a peek and maybe learn together. Yeah, not only Leyline and Cage, I think Black-White Kaya is like single-handedly the best take card for against the Cat Oven decks. It's very good because Light kills Oven in play too and exiles Cat. Been having a blast playing Historic. I reached Diamond rank last night with team of friends. Highest ever been. Hey, congrats, Just John. Thanks for your 11 months, Maestro. Welcome back. Oh yeah, Torpor Robe Fame. Forgot about that one. All right, let's find out if there's a combo finish in this format. Yeah, Temur Reclamation was the worst performing deck in Twitch Rivals. It was the second most played archetype on day one and only had one copy in the top 32. It also had a bunch of incredible players playing it, like LSB and Brad Delson. A bunch of other really good Magic players showed up with Temur Rec. Okay. So what is Eldraine 3.0? I'm a little confused. Well, we've had two major bannings since Eldraine release that have effectively pushed the format into a new format. So Eldraine Standard 1.0 would be when it first released. Eldraine Standard 2.0 would be after the Field of the Dead ban, and then Eldraine Standard 3.0 is what we are currently existing in. In a post-Oko, post-Veil, post Once Upon a Time world. I mean, there's always got to be a best deck, Nifty. That's unavoidable. Expecting there to not be a best deck is just silly. Okay, so now they get Biomancer's Familiar, and then they go Infinite, I believe, is the line here now. So Biomancer's Familiar, yeah, makes this activated ability cost 1, and then Blinking Eyeless Watcher makes 2 things that make a mana. So they now have an unlimited amount of mana, which also means they have an unlimited Corridor Monitor activations and unlimited Prime Speaker Mana for activations. So I wonder if they have something to get me that kills me this turn. So they can make infinite 1/1s. I just want to see if they have something that kills me this turn. They should, right? Like they just get like a Corpse Knight or something like that, I'd imagine. One training pleb hitter, please. Thanks for the great community. Thanks for the half a year, Gecko Pirate. People see bannings and unbannings as much more sacred than they are, since paper magic makes functional errata difficult. Monthly updates to the ban list and all formats will be better. The internet solving formats way faster than the past, so we should not have to sit through disasters like Oko and Hagak. I mean, like, so like, the only thing, I agree with the first part of your take there, but I disagree with the second part of your take. Which I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the second part of your take is like trying to imply that solved formats are inherently a bad thing. And I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot of good examples of formats over the years that were solved that are actually incredibly good formats. So I don't think that we necessarily... I guess I could just assume I just want to see, like, if they're getting something that kills us this turn. Yeah, I, like, the end game of, like, making a bunch of 1/1s is, like, probably good enough to beat us, but, like, I want to see if they, like, actually kill us this turn. It depends on the solved format, Johnny boy. Like, for example, in Modern, which I would argue is a relatively solved format, there's so many decks that brewing a new deck is incredibly difficult. So for people not familiar with what our current opponent is doing, Eldrazi Displacer pays 3 to blink something. Biomancer's Familiar reduces that pay 3 to a pay 1. And then Eyeless Watcher, every time it comes into play, it makes 2 1/1s that sack for colorless mana. So my opponent here currently has infinite mana, infinite colorless mana, and infinite 1/1s. And infinite Eldrazi Displacer activations. Yeah, infinite Prime Speaker activations as well because of Corridor Monitor. That Elemental came from a Voice of Resurgence. I think this is just their endgame. I kind of wanted to see if they had a different endgame than this. I think this endgame is good enough. I'm just waiting to see if they pass or not. They set up Selfless Spirit to defend it. They had this as a protection spell. Yep. This is the Kiki Court equivalent in Pioneer. I mean, it's a creature combo deck that seems real neat. Ultimate Price, not so good here. Both Ultimate Price and Cast Down miss Vanifear, which feels a little bit bad. Like, yeah. Abrupt Decay misses Vanifear. Abrupt Decay has not felt particularly good. What are my trims here? Natterjack, thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Huh. You know what? If I'd have shocked in the Overgrown Tomb, I could have eaten the Corridor Monitor and they wouldn't have been able to get it back with Rallier, right? So that was actually a bit of a mistake in the last game. Do I just cut Abrupt Decay? I'm just going to cut Abrupt Decay. I don't think it kills enough here. Bringing in Ritual of Soot to clean up their smaller dorks. I don't even think it's a coward split. I think diversifying cards like that tends to be reasonable a lot of the time. Abrupt Decay is definitely better against, like, the black aggro decks, because, like, they can use the extra lands that you give them, though. So, like, again, when you're trying to be interactive, there's a little bit of guesswork and a little bit of crossing your fingers and hoping things line up how you need them to. I played a bit of Historic Pirates and had fun, but I think it needs some updates. That wouldn't surprise me. I am a sucker for a bad tempo deck. Okay. Is actual factual Doomblade too good for standard? I don't know. I want a good, bad flash deck. That's, Thanks for the 15 months, Coons. Welcome back. Pirate Screwing Smuggler's Copter seems flavorful. Cast Down is arguably better than Doomblade. It's different. Cast Down was like present in a format where like Dominaria was legal, where there are a lot of miscellaneous legends, so I don't think it's just a strictly better, strictly worse comparison. Girl mid-range has been good in Historic, but can never beat turn 2 Oko. Is there a way to fix that? Are you playing a bunch of Sorcerer Spyglasses? That's probably your best tool for it. Yeah, I agree, thanks. Guilt, thanks for re-upping that Prime for the second month in a row. Welcome back to Glandia. And Mamost, thanks for the 17 months of support. Happy Monday, folks. Hope you're having a great start to your week. They played Unclaimed Territory on Wizard. Interesting. I wonder how many incidental wizards they have. Love to draw just, you know, spells. Spells would be nice. Big fan of drawing spells this time of year. Is Vanifir a wizard? I believe so. Sounds right. Deathrite Shaman has not looked good. I mean, it would have prevented us from dying in the previous game had I played my land untapped. It's quite possibly just worse than a Boreal Grazer, though. Yeah. A Boreal Grazer would also provide a random blocker against the flying decks that beat us up in the first two matches. Worth noting that the configuration that went 8-0 in the Mox wasn't playing a Boreal Grazer either, though. It's playing Gilded Goose, which felt weird to me. Yep. Spoke UK viewers tomorrow to make sure they're registered to vote tomorrow. Tomorrow is the deadline. Oh, that reminds me. I meant to retweet that when I woke up this morning. Who did I see? Who did I see posted that? Was it Pleasant Kenobi? There was someone... There was someone I followed posted about a deadline in the UK, and yeah, I could definitely do that. It was actually Merchant. Yeah. Merchant had tweeted a general reminder, hey, you should go register to vote, but I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I retweeted him and was like, I will tell you who to vote for. Go vote for the party that's going to address climate change, please and thank you. I would like a planet for my children to live on. Please prioritize climate change. All right. Is it just Dub's Field of the Dead here? I feel like it's just Dub's Field of the Dead here, huh? One really important thing to keep in mind, Vic, is that little quiz thing was very shallow. It specifically I just talked about climate change being my #1 issue. It didn't have any questions about that. I like a lot of Saffron Olive's content, but I feel like a lot of his takes recently have been very much like old man yells at clouds more than anything else. The standard gotten better since the bans? We don't know. New formats are always great, and we are definitely in new format territory at the moment. So it might be great. Exploring new formats is fun. We've had a lot of sweet deck submissions, so we'll see if that continues to be the case. Vraska's Contempt. Okay, yeah. So that lets me kill Vannifear through their Selfless Spirit here. So I'm gonna see if I can bait them a little bit here, or not bait them. I'm gonna kill the Deputy, which makes it look like I'm trying to kill this so they sack the spirit so I can kill Vannifear. So I might be able to... Rats. I was hoping they would maybe save the Selfless Spirit, hoping to protect Vannifear. Full Earn, thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. How does one become a full-time meme? Like many things in life, the most important part about becoming successful on Twitch is being incredibly lucky. Not being unlucky also helps, but being lucky is definitely the number one thing you need to do to be successful on Twitch. Hey, Didabur, thanks for the 1.5 years. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Dying Hair Peak helps the memeish value for sure. To a degree, Garden Variety Troll. But, for the most part, you have to have an audience to start. You can't just, snap your fingers and, suddenly have people pop up overnight. It's a market that's just incredibly saturated. I don't know how we're gonna beat the Sephara. That's a start. Alright, so I have how many mana? So I can do this first and then Field of the Rune. Field of Rune. You guys get a bunch of Field of the Dead, right? You're not supposed to. Actually, I'm gonna get Westvale Abbey and a Field of the Dead. And then I'm going to Field of Rune their unclaimed territory, because I'd be willing to bet they don't have a basic waste in their deck. And if we field them off of this, there's a good chance they don't, they can't activate the Eldrazi Displacer next turn. They do have 2 cards in their hand at the moment. What a tilter. So that makes my zombies worse. It makes my Westvale Abbey pretty bad. Because they can pay 3 and Displacer the Deputy to give me back my tracker. Baka Nation, thank you for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Quaddle, thanks for 11 months. I'm all alone, there's no one here beside me. Do 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 do. Our sand castle was successfully kicked over. It smarts, it really does. Hey, we're no longer clueless at least, so we got that going for us. How'd the first couple of matches with this list go? Awful, Marty. We just got thrashed. Died to a bunch of flying creatures. Deathrite Shaman's a 5-turn clock. Nah, they have a goose. I just need to draw Ritual of Soot, chat. Ritual of Soot will get us back in this game, right? Right? Ritual of Soot can drag us back in. I'm going to do this first. And the reason for this is I want to be able to... I don't want them to be able to blink Deputy in response to me casting Hour. Languish would be good, yeah. Is Oko long for Pioneer? Yeah, I think Oko is fine in this format. I think the people clamoring for Oko's removal in this format are unrealistic. Yes, this deck's playing 2 deserts. Thanks for 7 months, Crockett. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Zombie, 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 hey, hey. I don't know. It all sucks. If I flip Westvale Abbey, they literally just get to do this again next turn and take the thing away. So, like, I don't know. I'm going to be done with this one. This deck was really unimpressive. We actually didn't win a game. We actually just, like, 0-3, 0-6. Yeah, I don't know. I would believe that this deck has a number of good matchups in the format. I would. Someone, I mean, it certainly is reasonable. Someone 8-0'd the Mox with something very close to this within like 5 cards. And just like, I think that set of games was a really good example of how attackable this deck is in the format. And I think that it's fine for decks like this to exist. I think they could definitely have good matchups. I also think we hit the rough side of variance in some of those matches. We could have at least taken games in some of them if we'd run a little bit better. Or perhaps like the Shockland I missed for my Deathrite Shaman in the first game against the Vannifear deck. But overall, I just like if I was looking to play the definitive best deck in this format, I don't think this is it. I don't know what it is. It's probably just the mono black aggro deck still. Would likely be my guess, but I think this is fine, but I wasn't like, wow, this is busted. It just was just like, this is okay. And there are definitely ways to beat it up if you want to beat it up. All right, we're gonna hit a quick ad roll while I get my stream decker and everything else updated here. When we get back, we are gonna play What Are 1-drops, Baby Don't Hurt Me. Some Abzan hero here. Back in a few, folks. Thanks for hanging out today.